Alright, hi everybody. Let's do a demonstration of how to connect to OSU's EECS servers using PuTTY, a classic Windows command line interface connection program. So the first thing we're going to do when you fire it up is you're presented with this screen that just has a blast of different options and variables available to you, but we're just going to make a few settings. First of all, let's pretend we are off campus, and when we're off campus we cannot connect directly to the class servers. We can only connect to the one server that's accessible from the outside, from the internet, and that server is access.engr.oregonstate.edu. So that's the one you're going to enter when we're off campus here. So enter that one in. The port is still 22. That's common for SSH. And we'll go ahead and give this a name. This is what we'll save this connection as. We'll save it as access. And then we need to make a couple other settings. So first of all, we'll click on the terminal group, and inside keyboard, we're going to set backspace to Control H. And then down in window translation, we're going to set the remote character set to UTF-8, which is the standard set of characters. And then down on connection, we're going to enable TCP keep alives, which will help keep our connection live longer. There's one other setting that I like to do. It's optional. It's under the appearance group under window. There's one called cursor blinks. I like it when my cursor blinks, so we'll make that setting. And go back up to session. And once we've got everything set correctly, we'll hit save, and that creates a new entry called access. Now if we go in through here and we make a bunch of other settings and everything gets weird, we can come back to session and select access and hit load, and it will reset everything back to how it's supposed to look. Alright, now that we're all ready to connect from off campus, we'll just hit access, load, and then hit open. And I'll drag this from the other screen over. First of all, it wants to know our ONID username. So mine is BruceDeb. And it always says access denied for some reason, but trust me, it's still okay. You're doing the right thing. Now it'll ask you for your ONID password. And we'll see if I can type it in correctly here the first time. Yep, made it in. And you'll note that the server that says I'm connected to is Flip. This is the third computer in this particular cluster, but Flip instead of Access. That's because Access is an alias for the Flip servers, and that allows OSU to be able to change where access points to in the future. They'd prefer some neutral access name instead of connecting directly to the name Flip, but you can also just connect directly to Flip from off campus as well. Now that I'm connected, I can't do any of our coursework on Flip. It's not allowed. The software that we're running can crash servers, so we want to make sure that we connect to ours. If I am an on-campus student, then that means that I am going to connect to OS class. And SSH is the program on this Unix server that we can use to initiate a connection over to a different server. So I type in SSH space OS-class, and again, this is for on-campus students. And it'll ask me for my password again. So let me type that in. And there I am connected to OS class. And once I'm in here, I can run, say, ls, and it'll show me the listing of files that are there. And when I'm done with the server, I can log back out, and it'll take me back to Flip. Now, when I type ls here, which just lists all the files that are there, you'll note that it shows me the same files. That's because the files are being copied, or the files are accessible from any of these different EECS servers. So you don't have to worry about which server you're connected to in terms of finding your files. You can connect to any of them, and your files will still be there. Now, if I am an eCampus student, if I'm on one of OSU's online eCampus courses, so for CS344, we will connect into EOS class. That's for the eCampus OS class. And again, it's going to ask me for my password. Get this typed in here. And now it'll connect me to EOS class. And note, I can still hit ls, and it'll show me what's there. Now, the other piece of the puzzle is to make sure that you're in the correct shell. There are lots of different shells that are available. I can run the TCSH shell, which is a different one, and then inside that shell, say I could run another shell, the SH shell. Let me exit back out of those. But the one that we want to be running in is called bash. And the way we get into bash is just type in bash and hit enter. And note that now I'm inside a shell from the shell that I was in before. So I'm going to type exit to get back out. So from this initial shell, how can I tell what shell I'm actually in? The way you can do that is there's a simple program called echo $0 as the argument we'll pass to echo. And that will tell us the first term in the command used to start the program that we're currently running. And in this case, that was bash. So we can tell that the shell that we're in now was bash because that's what command was started originally. All right, I hope that shows you how to get connected into the servers here at OSU using PuTTY. If you're using a Mac or a Linux box, you just need to get into whatever terminal program is inside there, and you can use the SSH program that's built in. You can SSH directly to Access, and then from Access, SSH into OS class or EOS class. Now, if you are on campus, then you can SSH directly to EOS class or OS class. Both of those are acceptable because you're already on campus. There's another way to do this also. If you have installed the VPN client on Windows, or you've configured your Windows machine to use the VPN services at OSU, once the VPN is connected, the virtual private network, you can then SSH directly to OS class or EOS class, because you've already authenticated to the network, and it'll allow you to connect to those. So that's another option. But for most people, just configuring PuTTY like we've done here is simple enough and easy to do. All right, if you have any questions, let us know on the discussion boards. Thanks!